As well as the physical risk to officers, we also have potentially a major financial challenge facing Northern Ireland Federation members. Last month, in a show of solidarity, the General Secretary and I marched through the centre of London with 35,000 other UK police officers protesting against the recommendation of the Winsor reports. At the annual conference of England and Wales Police Federation, over 1,000 officers gave the Home Secretary a torrid time as further evidence of their anger and frustration at the government's unwillingness to see the damage that will happen to career police officers, the police itself, and to public confidence in their safety from criminality. So far, we've been telling our members, quite correctly, that the recommendations of the Winsor reports apply only to England and Wales. While it is a fact that no formal invitation has been extended to this federation to open discussions, I think it appropriate that I use this opportunity to make it abundantly clear that we will also resist the wholesale implementation of Windsor's recommendations. Indeed, to start with, many of them would be totally inappropriate for the circumstances of Northern Ireland and would have a serious adverse effect on the recruitment and retention of quality officers. In particular, the proposal that the starting salary of a recruit should be £19,000 simply beggars belief. Add in the recommendation that a constable's pay would be frozen at the third incremental pay point, and the whole idea of being properly rewarded for being an officer in the police service of Northern Ireland goes out the window. Nor can we accept that officers who have been injured in the course of duty, especially as a result of terrorism, should have their pay reduced by 40% and even their careers terminated because they can no longer carry out the full range of police duties. It is true that we have never had a problem attracting applicants to the job, but we cannot set aside that we have worked hard to attract recruits from across the whole community. Everyone who joins the PSNI is at risk of murder by the dissident paramilitaries and, as you've heard earlier, Minister, at great risk of being injured on duty, and yet government would seek to reduce the financial incentive to attract the best candidates from every part of the community to a career in policing. And why, once we have officers at the stage in their career when they are justifying the significant investment in their training, should their salary be undermined? The imbalance between risk and reward will encourage officers to look for jobs where their own or their family's personal safety is no longer an issue. We already have a disproportionate number of young officers contemplating leaving the service, and that's on the current remuneration package. Changes such as envisaged by Winsor can only boost that exodus. The increase in our pension contributions, as recommended by the Hutton report, will further diminish take-home pay. And we also need to take account of the inescapable fact that officers in Northern Ireland have to be very selective where they choose to live. That means buying houses which other employees on comparable salaries would regard as beyond their reach. For police officers, there is a security imperative to go the extra financial mile. Again, any reduction in salary, either through an incremental freeze or in real terms through inflation, will simply encourage police officers to leave at the first opportunity. And it's not enough for the government to say, well, that's market forces for you. In Northern Ireland, we should not forget what we have been through. We have a police service representative of the entire community. We've had imaginative rules to ensure that the composition of the police service of Northern Ireland will maximise public confidence that they own this new police service. And we have an executive which is showing its resilience despite the severity of the economic recession and underlying political tensions. Too much then is at stake for changes as might be contained in a Northern Ireland version of Winsor. We have come too far since Patton's promised new beginning to policing to jeopardise the gains that we have already made. We have still some way to go before policing is as effective throughout all parts of Northern Ireland as it should be. Northern Ireland owes much, of its political progress to its policing success story. The last thing Northern Ireland needs is for the officers I represent or for our command team to become distracted from the overriding need to eliminate terrorism, public order conflict and gaining the support of all of our citizens because of Windsor. We have a transformed and reinvigorated police service which is up to the challenge of defeating the paramilitaries, whether it be dissident Republicans or loyalist hoodlums. And the presence here today of the Justice Minister and later on the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland clearly demonstrates that there is a willingness from Westminster and Stormont to defeat these evil people. But what we now need from our respective ministers are some very brave decisions in the face of difficult economic and political pressures so that we can police Northern Ireland effectively with the necessary resources. Not only do we owe it to the entire community, but to the courageous men and women of the Police Service of Northern Ireland who risk their lives to keep us safe and uphold democracy. Thank you.